Hello. This podcast is going to talk about integrating technology when you think about benchmarking. And I made it with Prezi.com. I recommend this to you as a tool for using. It takes a bit of practice, otherwise, you'll be swirling around the screen. So, let me show you the content. This comes from Module 2, which is really going to talk about the integration of technology in the classroom. And here is the Wordle that I made from our course syllabi. And you can see that literacy and reading and technology are all intertwined and are really referred to as the new literacies. So how do you decide what to use? It really depends on the content that you're teaching and the purpose of what you're trying to teach children, as well as your students' knowledge and background. And so as a teacher, you have to make decisions on what particular tool to select based on all of those factors together. The International Society for Technology and Education, ISTE, has been one that you explored in Module 1. And you really want to think about the standard expectations for students, which you'll see right down here on the left of the screen, the nets for students, together with the nets for teachers. And specifically, you want to self-assess what you need to learn in the context of the course, but you always want to keep in mind what are the appropriate standards for students for technology integration. And we know that there is a tsunami coming in New York State, particularly. We have the response to intervention, RTI, model that really specifies how students are supposed to be taught. And one of the major changes, fundamental difference from the old model of teaching, is that most students, about 80%, will be taught by the classroom teacher. And so it's the classroom teacher's responsibility to address the needs of students. And that may involve some reteaching, certainly differentiated instruction based on students' background. And then there's Tier 2, where students are taught using specific strategies for a period of time, and they're assessed on how well they've done. And then Tier 3, which is for students who really encounter significant difficulty and need specialized, almost one-on-one or one-on-two instruction. We also know that in addition to RTI, the Common Core state standards have been adopted in New York State. And these actually have been adopted by more than 40 states in the United States. Some people say it's going to lead to a national curriculum, but it's not a curriculum. It's really a series of standards that integrate literacy, including the new literacy, which is technology and Web 2.0 tools, in helping students to construct knowledge, problem solve, and share that information in the 21st century.
We benchmark all the time in real life. We often want to know if we're doing better, so we may keep track of how long it takes us to run a mile, and so if we can prove that over time. And benchmarking in school is no different. There's some major questions we want to know, and the first one is, what should students know and be able to do? Because if we haven't defined what they should do, then how do we know how to measure it? Once we measure it, and have decided it's appropriate and reliable and valid, consistent, we have to make some decisions about what we do if, in fact, they have not met our measurements. Benchmarking, whether it's the initial universal benchmarking that everyone gets, or whether it is targeted based on students who've encountered academic difficulty, has to be relevant. And so we need to look at a plan that is implemented across grade levels, that's reasonable, and that will give us informative data. And I think the most logical thing is to tie our assessments to the new Common Core state standards and make sure that what we're asking students to do is aligned. Now, many people think that CCSS is a curriculum, and it's not. It's really a listing of standards, and states decide how they're going to measure that. So the key point is always going to be what and how you measure whatever content it is you're trying to look at within a school system. And that's it in a nutshell. Your benchmarking needs to be tied to standards. Thank you.
And so when you're thinking about integrating technology and you're trying to decide what of these many, many choices you should pick, you want to look at the alignment between the Common Core state standards, response to intervention, the content that you're teaching, the purpose of what your particular assignment is, and what in fact you want students to be able to know and show you that they can do. So this vodcast, I hope, is helpful for you in thinking about how all these pieces are interrelated. Benchmarking informs your instruction and also allows you to assess whether or not students are meeting standards. And it all ties together very neatly when done well. Thank you.